Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Diksha Joshi.
Thank you, sir.
बैठिए. Your date of birth is 14th August 1995.
Yes, sir.
If you were born a day later, what would have happened?
So we would have celebrated our Independence Day. I mean, all of us would have celebrated it.
And your optional is medical science.
Yes, sir.
You belong to Pithoragarh
Yes,
in
sir.
Uttarakhand.
Yes, sir.
What is your father doing?
So he is involved in business. We have an electronic shop that he runs. So,
कहाँ पिथौरागढ़ में ही है?
yes, sir.
Okay. You did your MBBS in 2018
Yes, sir.
from the Himalayan Institute of Medical Sciences.
Yes, sir.
Tell us something about this Himalayan Institute.
So the Himalayan Institute of Medical Sciences is located 30 kilometers from Dehradun near the Jolly Grant Airport. This was founded by Swami Rama, who is considered to be a pioneer in the yogic sciences. He established the hospital in 1995. So, and later it was established as a medical college, and earlier it was known as the Himalayan Institute and Hospital Trust, but from 2012 it has been named as the Swami Rama Himalayan University. And
is there an emphasis on medicinal plants?
So there is no emphasis in the medical curriculum that we have, but there are other institutes that are parallelly running as a part of the university, where there is some emphasis that is given.
Having been a doctor,
yes, sir,
and a qualified MBBS, why, if at all, do you want to get into the civil service?
So the primary motivation for coming into civil services came in during my one-year internship in Government Doon Medical College, when I had a first-hand encounter of the challenges in delivering the healthcare system. Mm-hmm. That is when I realized that as a doctor, I'll be able to cater to one patient at a time, whereas as an administrator, I will be able to empower more doctors so that they are equipped with right kind of infrastructure and they are able to better deliver the healthcare services in the country.
What has been the contribution of the medical fraternity
yes,
in fighting the pandemic, COVID-19?
So, if in one line I can explain, then that would be that without the medical fraternity, we would not have been able to deal with the pandemic, because they were the primary frontline workers who were working day and night to not only treat our patients with the disease, but also supporting them both mentally as well as also providing them emotional support. The recovery that we have seen in patients has been a lot because of the work of medical fraternity that includes not only the doctors, but also the other paramedic staff, such as the nurses, the other healthcare workers, such as the ASHA, the Anganwadi workers. So I think the reason why India was able to deal despite the lacking that we had in health infrastructure was because of the medical fraternity that we have in the country.
What was the third phase of the pandemic and the likely fourth phase of the pandemic?
So the third wave of the pandemic was in January, which was because of the Omicron variant. It was different from the earlier pandemics in a sense that the transmissibility of the virus was high. However, the rate of hospitalization or the severity of disease was low. As of now, the fourth wave cannot be ascertained whether we will have it or not at the similar intensity. We have seen some subvariants that are coming up of Omicron. If the transmission, as is being reported, continues, we might have a wave in time to come, but that cannot be ascertained as of now.
If you were to persevere in the medical profession,
yes, sir,
which would be your option? Which branch of medicine or surgery
yes, sir,
will be your option?
So, if I was given a chance, I would want to do pediatrics because of my interest or affection for children, and also that I think they are the ones that need special attention.
What is pediatric surgery?
So, pediatric surgery is a specialized branch of surgery wherein certain pediatric problems that children have right from birth, for example, the malnutrition of the intestines, or for example, we have certain defects in the heart. So those are the kind of conditions that a pediatric surgeon would deal with.
What is neonatal medicine or a branch of medical?
So a neonate is a newborn baby who is less than 28 days, and the branch of pediatrics that will deal with the newborn babies under the age of 28, providing them intensive care, would include a neonatal care.
What should be the normal weight of a newborn baby?
So the optimum weight should be 2.5 kgs or more, but it should be less than 4 kgs, otherwise that will be macrosomia.
What is juvenile diabetes?
So juvenile diabetes is a form of diabetes that is seen in children less than 18 years of age. It is primarily type 1 diabetes, wherein there is a deficiency in the release of insulin, and that is why such children will need a external source of insulin as a form of treatment.
Fine, Diksha. आप पूछें.
Diksha,
Yes, sir.
there's a place called Chandak.
Yes, sir.
If you are in the town of Pithoragarh,
Yes, sir.
there's one direction is Chandak.
Yes.
You will go to the other direction
Yes.
and look at the hill on which the Chandak area is located.
Yes, sir.
There are some horizontal lines visible in the grass. What are they?
So that will be the valley area of the.
This mountain slope,
Yes, sir.
on this slope you have lines like this, greenish lines appearing like this. I told you from where it will be visible.
So, if I could
Yeah,
clarify,
please.
Are you talking about the opposite side
Yes.
of Chandak, where?
No, it's the same hillock on which Chandak is located, but when you are looking at it from some distance, from the opposite side,
Yes, sir.
then only it will be visible.
So, what comes
Okay,
to?
leave it. There's a very important ashram in Lohaghat. Can you name it?
Sorry, sir. I'm not aware.
Okay. Sometimes people get upper respiratory infection
Yes, sir.
and they suddenly lose their voice.
Yes, sir.
Why does it happen?
So this happens because of the proximity of the vocal cords with the respiratory tract. So if there is
What would you call that kind of infection usually? There's a term for that. Your larynx is involved.
laryngitis,
Yeah.
is the infection that you
Okay,
call.
okay. Now, you said that being a doctor, being in civil services, you'll be able to guide so many doctors or help so many doctors. Now, today every doctor wants to become a civil servant. Wherefore will you get the doctors?
So that is a problem, but I think the area that we need to work here is why doctors want to become civil servants.
Exactly, that's what I'm asking.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So it is because as a doctor, there is lack of right infrastructure in the country.
Now, will you be able to help better in that by being a civil surgeon or by being a collector?
So if I am being in a position of a doctor, I will be able to help patients, but only one patient at a time, and I will.
No. You can help even infrastructure if you are in charge of a government hospital.
Yes, sir.
You will be able to develop infrastructure also. Now, if you ask all or let every doctor become a civil servant, then we are going to be short of doctors. And we already are not very much rich in that resource.
Yes.
We are losing our doctors. Different.
Please react to this proposition.
So I think that if, again, I will say the same thing, that if timely we are able to correct our infrastructure and implement the policies that the government has already started, so the doctors will be more interested in working in their own field, because having acquired a medical knowledge for 5 years.
Dr. Joshi, doctors have been able to get the policy of the government modified vis-a-vis Medical Council of India.
Yes, sir.
Right. Now, there's a Rai temple very close to your town, rather
Yes.
inside your town.
Yes, sir.
What is it like? Geographically, what kind of feature is it?
So it has a cave, and there are stalactites and stalagmites, as we call geographically, that are present inside. And there is a.
Have you ever been inside that cave?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, are you not aware about some ashram in Lohaghat? This but there's a hospital also being run by some missionaries there, Hindu missionaries.
Fine, Diksha, fine.
Sorry,
आप
sir.
पूछें.
Okay. Dr. Diksha,
Yes.
you are fond of Ipan, no? How to pronounce it? Ipan painting, no?
So it's called as Airpan.
Ipan.
Yes.
Ipan. What are these paintings?
So it was traditionally a ritual folk art that was done in the Kumaon area of Uttarakhand. Initially, it was done with the mixture of rice, which we call the rice flour, mixed with water with geru. But now that people have modified it, and what I do is paint it with a red and white enamel paint in different areas.
So, is there some similar type of art in Garhwal region also?
So, as far as I know, Garhwalis do not specifically practice Airpan. What they do is mostly Rangoli is the form that they practice.
And what other difference you find in Garhwal and Kumaon region, culturally and socially and other?
So, the major differences, one is with the language, that we speak Kumaoni, and the Garhwalis, the people in Garhwal, they speak Garhwali. There are certain festivals which are more common in the Kumaon region, not celebrated as popularly as in Garhwal. For example, we have the Makar Sankranti celebrated as Ghugutia. We have a Harela festival.
Okay. In India, which is the oldest painting?
So, the paintings in the Bhimbetka caves
Where
are...
it is?
So, it is located near Almora in the Lakhudiyar
Almora?
So, I'm so sorry, sir. It is located in Madhya Pradesh.
Okay. Okay. Then one question about biology, that is blue baby syndrome. What is this?
So, blue baby syndrome is because of the presence of methemoglobin in the blood. As a result of the increased concentration of nitrous compounds of nitrogen, the methemoglobin is formed, which results in depletion of the oxygen levels, and as a result, there is cyanosis, which is known as blue baby syndrome or methemoglobinemia.
Okay. This Uttarakhand and Himachal Pradesh,
Yes, sir.
so much difference in particularly the livelihood, and people in Himachal Pradesh are doing in comparison better. So what are the main causes? Because geologically and geographically, everything is almost similar.
So, I'm not very aware of the details, but what I can understand from my knowledge is probably in Himachal Pradesh, one, that the connectivity has improved to a large extent compared to what we have in Uttarakhand. That is why the economic opportunities or livelihood facilities
Fine, Diksha,
are better.
fine. You can do it now.
Good, Dr. Diksha, you had done you studied a correlation between fingerprints pattern and blood group.
Yes,
That's
sir.
very interesting. What was your finding?
So,
Is there a correlation first?
So the correlation was not statistically significant, but we did have some findings. The findings were that the loop pattern is the most common pattern of print that we have, and arches are the least. And if I talk about the correlation, then the AB blood group has the maximum prevalence of loop pattern, whereas A blood group has the maximum prevalence of arch pattern. These were the prominent findings that we could get.
So what was the size of your sample?
So it was a small sample size of 100 students of the...
100?
Yes, sir.
Good. Some people read the signature also. I was looking at your signature. It's unique in very many ways. Huh? Can you just tell me one uniqueness about your signature?
So one would be that...
it looks as if two people have signed.
Yes, because of the handwriting, and also that I tend to write a full name in the vertical manner, which people generally follow a horizontal pattern.
Yeah, because some people read that also. They say this. Okay, now what is this? How do you define inflation? Everybody is talking inflation is very high. What is the inflation really?
So inflation will be defined as the increase in the price of commodities around us. It can be because of the cost push inflation, or it could also be because of the demand side factors. And there could also be structural inflation.
Very good. Now, how do we measure inflation in India?
So the retail inflation is measured as consumer price index,
Very good.
whereas the wholesale inflation is measured as WPI, the wholesale price index. We also have a producer's price index at the production level. These are the three ways in which we can measure.
Good. Now take the wholesale price index.
Yes.
Now what sort of index is it?
So wholesale price index is the index that calculates the inflation rate at the wholesale level right after the factory
So
gate.
there's a basket of commodities, right?
Yes, sir. It includes three primary commodities: primary articles, manufactured products, and fuel and power, which are included in it.
And they are weighted average or what? Weighted index or what?
So
Obviously weighted.
It is
They don't have the same weightage, no?
Yes.
All the commodities. Okay, how come RBI is concerned about inflation? Finance Ministry I can understand. How come RBI?
So because RBI has been assigned the responsibility based
Right,
on,
they have been assigned because of that only.
no sir, because also that RBI is responsible for regulation of the money supply in the economy. And if the inflation goes high, it will impact all the sectors that derive the functioning. For example, the bank rate, or for example, the demand in the economy. So
Fine, Diksha, fine. Versatile, the candidate is now.
Diksha,
yes, sir.
something major happened in August of 2019 in India. What happened?
So if I can remember, with the health related issue, there was in the Muzaffarpur area of Bihar.
No, think of something. Parliament passed something.
Sir, it was the abrogation of the Article 370.
Why was it done?
So because Jammu and Kashmir had a special status in the constitution, and because of which there were certain restrictions, because as a result of which the outsiders were not able to acquire property or do their trade, and that was one of the primary reasons why government abrogated the article, so that the...
Anything else?
So it was also because they wanted a better integration of the state with the country.
If you observe last 15, 20 years and 4 or 5 years, as an observer sitting in Delhi, do you think the trajectory was towards more integration or towards more separation before this step? And why?
Sir, I think the idea was of integration only, not of separation.
Not idea, practically on the ground. You are observing from Delhi, you are Home Secretary. Were there any disturbing trends?
So prior to the abrogation, what we have seen is that the people in the state enjoyed a different status. There were terror activities or certain groups that were not in favor of, or they were raising demand for a separate state time and again. And it was also seen that that was harming the growth and the
You are
development.
making some general statement. I want something very specific. You are watching from Delhi before 19, 3, 4, 5 years. Some instances, something disturbing, something. Abdul Wani, you have heard of Wani
Yes, sir.
incident?
Yes, sir.
Millions of people, stone pelting.
Yes, sir.
So okay, after that, what has been the experience in your assessment? Has that been a successful or positive decision, or iffy still, or negative?
So right after the abrogation, there were some issues that came up. For example, internet shutdown affecting the lives of people. But now, after a span of 3 years or 2 years, what we see is that...
If you were the district magistrate and commissioner or chief secretary, do you think it was a good idea to shut down internet? Because there was a lot of criticism. What would be your assessment?
So, I think the demand of that time was such that the internet had to be shut down, but also that the court has also recognized this fact that internet is not only important for communication, but also for trade and transport and education.
So law and order and the people's life is more important, or trade, and you have to be very clear. You are on the right track.
So the duration, I believe, has to be...
Okay, you are a doctor.
Yes.
So WHO came under some criticism on this in the context of this pandemic, what were the issues on which even we were not happy? India as a country was not happy.
So some of the issues that came up, one was the allegation of Chinese biasness, that they did not declare that China was one of the reasons. Second was also late declaration of the pandemic. And sir,
They had constituted a committee
Yes.
regarding the origin of the virus.
Yes, sir.
Tell us something about it. Why was that criticized?
So it was criticized because what I know is that certain reports have said that there was a gain of function research that was going on, and that was research in China funded by the United States, whereas WHO did not take a clear stand on this.
Constitution of that committee, membership of that committee?
I'm sorry, sir, I'm not aware.
Do you think as a doctor, is it just a coincidence that in Wuhan there was this laboratory doing research and this pandemic also emerged from Wuhan? Is it just a coincidence, or do you think there is, it points to something more? What would be your gut feeling?
So as a doctor, it does raise some eyebrows that such a thing happened in the same city where the research was going on.
So Chinese were hiding something, isn't it? What will be your conclusion based on evidence available in public?
So as of today, we do not have clear evidence, at least in the
Fine,
public
Diksha,
domain.
fine.